So the next part is we're going to start actually making your budget. We're going to take your expenses and figure out what expenses you're going to spend your money on now that we know your income after you've paid yourself first. So if I look at mine, I know I have $1,104.82. Now, what we're going to do is try and make a plan. And most likely you're going to overspend because that's not a ton of income to live off of. However, I want you to keep going through to see how much your budget would actually equal. And then at the end, we can kind of discuss where would you cut back if you really truly did need to live off of this type of income. Some people do live off of this. I know when I graduated from high school and I moved out of my parents' home, I was living off a very small amount of income. But your standard of living also matters. So we're just going to go off of basic averages at this point, and it's okay if it's not going to be exactly what you want it to be. And of course, there are always alternatives. You could always find something cheaper or not spend that money. But let's see what it would look like if you were living the lifestyle you wanted to live outside of your parents' home or your adult's home, and see how you would do first. So just stick with me. There's always the what ifs, of course. We're just going by averages. Later in this course, we will make a budget where you make it on your own based on real numbers from a real city in a real location. So first, you've got two options for renting your home. Okay, you're not buying yet. You're still a young adult. You don't have the capital or the down payment to be able to purchase your own home. So you're going to rent first. You cannot live with your adults because I want you to see what it would be like to actually live off this income. So you can live in an apartment or house by yourself. And some people truly do value that. That is something that is important to them. Or you're going to live with roommates. Now, what's important to know is the second you start living with roommates, yes, things become cheaper. However, you have roommates. So keep that in mind as you're going through. If living by yourself is something you value, let's see what it would look like to live by yourself on your own. I mean, this budget is fake anyway. So let's try and see what it would look like so you can kind of get an idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to a website called zumper.com/rent research. So I literally just want you to open up the web, go to zumper.com/rent-research. And I need you to type it in because this will take you to a very specific site. What's really great about it is we can look for rental market trends in our area. So let's say I know, for instance, I'm going to want to live in, I don't know, Sacramento when I get out of my parents' house. I want to graduate. I want to move down there. I want to go to college, and maybe I'm living out there after I go to college or during that time. Or maybe I just want to go and get a job and live there. I can look up Sacramento, California, and you'll see that it will let me look up rent prices. And it'll say the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Sacramento is $15.99, okay? But if you scroll down, you'll actually be able to see a whole chart on what rent has looked like in the past few years. And what's important is you can look up studio, one bedroom, two bedroom, three bedroom, or four bedroom. So I can click on studio and see what a studio rent is. And I want to go with the most recent date. So whatever the most recent date is at the end of this graph, that's kind of what you want to go through. What's kind of interesting is less than 2 months ago, there was a really big dip in the market, but now it's rising back up in Sacramento. Now, if you're seeing a rent market like $1,700 and you're like, oh my gosh, I could not afford that, right? That's when we start talking about roommates. So you same thing, roommates, but now you're going to split that by the number of people. But you have to have a bedroom for each person. We're going to pretend that each person gets their own bedroom. So if I'm going to have a two-bedroom apartment, that's me having a room and my roommate having a room. We would then take $18.99 and we'd split it in two, right? So I could go ahead and take my $18.99 divided by 2 and know I'm paying $949.50 for that rental. Same thing for a 3-bedroom. That would be between 3 people. So I could go ahead and take $2,400 and divide it by 3 and pay only $800 a month. So you can see that roommates begin to decrease that cost. Now, if you're looking at Sacramento and you're like, no, can't live there, way too costly, you can always just see what things are looking like here in Spokane. Let me tell you, it's raising 18% increase. Coeur d'Alene is the #1 home buyers area in the entire United States right now. Spokane is number 5, and that increases your rental market extensively. But again, scrolling down to that, I can see that rent here would be $1,005 for me to have a 1-bedroom apartment. I'm going to go ahead and go with like a 3-bedroom apartment, split it between 3 people, 1,850. So if I take 1,850 and divide it by 3, I'm going to be paying $616.67. So I'm going to round up, okay? And I'm going to go back to my budget and put in $616.67. Now, the next step is renter's insurance. Are you going to have it? Do you have to have renter's insurance? Renter's insurance is really great for being able to cover you if you absolutely need it, especially like things for a fire or burglary. What's interesting is only some of them cover a flood. I thought that was very interesting learning about that. But renter's insurance is pretty cheap. So if your place was burglarized or there was a fire, or in case it does cover flood, you're looking at about less than $20 a month to be able to cover up to $50,000 worth of your stuff. So electronics, bed, furniture, clothing, food, etc. So if you want to add that into your budget, thinking that would be something I would want or I would value, go ahead and put in $20 into your budget. And we've got rent under control.